Hey, welcome everyone to another Discovery Series info session. Today, we are going to be hearing from the National Commission for Health Education Credentialing, and they're going to be speaking to us about the application process for the exam, the eligibility criteria and credentialing benefits of the Certified Health Education Specialist exam, as well as the Master Certified Health Education Specialist exam. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our presenters. If you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. We will have a Q&A portion at the end of the presentation, and you'll also get some follow-up information after the event, including the recording of this info session. So Tanya and Jessica, thank you for being here, and I'll hand it over to you.
Absolutely. I'll jump in. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to what we call the CHES exam information session. My name is Jess Wessner. I am a staff member with the National Commission for Health Education Credentialing. That's a mouthful, so we usually just shorten it to NCHEC. This afternoon, we'll be talking, as Maya said, about our certification known as the CHES. It's a national certification offered quite specifically for health education specialists. But before we dive in, a brief introduction. I want to introduce everybody to Tanya Cole. She is our CHES exam coordinator, and Tanya reviews all the CHES pre-screens, which we'll be talking about, and applications for eligibility. And she'll be doing a lot of the presenting today and talking about the exam and the processes. And she also will be available for your Q&A at the end. So any questions that aren't reached today, you can also, email to us at any time or call the office, and we'd be happy to chat through things with you. So just to let you know, all your questions will be answered. About NCHEC, so our mission as a nonprofit organization is to enhance the professional practice of health education by promoting and sustaining a credentialed body of health education specialists. So that's a big, a lot of big terms there, but how we do this is through developing and administering this national competency exam. And we develop the standards for academic professional preparation that you get in the classroom. And we promote ongoing professional development through continuing education for those who obtain our credential. So we're really, really focused on continued learning throughout the life cycle of a career. The CHES certification has been around for over 30 years, and it's validated by what is known as periodic national job analysis studies. And this important thing occurs just to make sure that the exam base and the questions that you're asked on the exam actually reflects what's going on in the health education industry, what professionals are doing in a large variety of job settings and roles across the country. And these studies are very important to keeping this credential valid and up to date and really meaning something to employers and the public. We're also nationally and internationally accredited. And these accreditations are something that become really important in making sure that we're doing a good job with this exam, that it's a fair job and it's a consistent job, with these national certifications that we administer. Yeah. So what is a CHES? A CHES is an individual that has, number one, met academic eligibility. So you've completed specific coursework that makes you a health education specialist, and your academic transcript will go through an evaluation process for this that Tanya will conduct. Next is that passing that really intricate competency-based examination, very thorough, again, at that national level. And also a really important part is that you satisfy a continuing education requirement. So periodically you're required to complete a certain number of continuing education credits and have that recorded with us so that you can recertify your credential, keep it valid and up to date. So another term you'll hear a lot is eligibility. Everybody wants to know about eligibility if you're considering the credential. So what does it mean? So eligibility for the CHES is based exclusively on academic qualifications. So you have to have a major in health education, community health education, public health education, school health education, or some universities, don't have those titles. So we will accept 25 semester hours, 37 quarter hours, if that's how your university does things. They have to be coursework specifically related to the 8 areas of responsibility and competency. And Tanya will be digging into those areas a little bit more in the presentation, because they are pretty important. Above all, CHES certification, it's a quality assurance to employers and to public. So it establishes this national standard that we're talking about, a standard of practice for all health education specialists across the board. It attests to the individual's health education knowledge and skills. So you demonstrated your competency by passing the exam. It also assists employers in identifying kind of qualified health education practitioners. So if you have that on your resume, they know that you've passed this exam and that you've, you can't just wing the exam. You know your stuff. So that really helps. We have a lot of employers, I think over 500 on a list right now that require certification, because it helps them narrow in on their candidates. We see that it developed a sense of pride and accomplishment among health education specialists, because it is a big deal to study for that exam and get that passing grade. So that's a big one. And then also it promotes continued professional development. So that's part's a requirement. And a lot of times, new professionals, they're very busy, new jobs, new families, commitments, but you can't get out of doing the professional development for certification. So it really helps keep you on task. So at this point, I'm going to turn you over to Tanya, our exam coordinator, and she'll walk you through the eligibility process and what happens on test day and everything else in between and after. So Tanya, let's start with exam schedule.
So the CHES exam is currently offered twice a year, April and October, over a 10-day window, with many different testing times and locations available. We offer the exam at a physical testing site or also online testing where you would test remotely. Rescheduling options are also available, which are outlined in our CHES exam handbook. We can put some links in the chat. The first thing to understand is that every transcript submitted with an application or a pre-screen application is reviewed on an individual basis. Course titles vary widely from university to university, as does course content. So if your transcripts are reviewed and we are uncertain about the content of the course you've taken, we may ask you to provide additional course descriptions or syllabi to help identify what is in that course. A tip for in submitting your application, you could print out or attach course descriptions, which would help with clarity on your accepted courses. So it could be a little bit of a quicker process. So the application or pre-screen is the next step. The next step would be to submit your application or pre-screen. This can be done through the NCHEC online portal. Once you created an account, or applications can also be emailed to the exam coordinator, and they can also be faxed into the office. The official transcripts submitted with the application are then reviewed, and again, if additional information is needed, we would request that documentation. Once 25 or more credits that align with the 8 areas of responsibility are identified, the candidate is contacted with the next steps to complete registration. If the applicant is found ineligible, information on how to obtain additional credits are provided. So applicants are then moved, after approved, to the candidate stage to begin preparation to sit for the exam, and then you can also schedule your exam appointment through your online portal. Occasionally, applicants are unclear about their eligibility requirements. The degree may not specifically read health education, but you may have accumulated sufficient hours of coursework. The Commission offers a pre-screen service for prospective applicants to determine eligibility before applying for the NCHEC exam. Transcripts are reviewed to determine your eligibility, and then notification through email of the pre-screen outcome will be provided. If ineligible, again, course deficiencies will be identified and guidance for qualification will be provided. Excuse me. So there's a $25 non-refundable fee for the pre-screen service, but if you are deemed eligible, that $25 will go towards your full registration fee. And the pre-screen is currently open right now. It's open, it opened November 1st, and it's open for the first 3 months of the deadlines. So it will be open till January 31st. And this is for the upcoming April 2024 exam. So the pre-screen application is often used in place of the regular applications. Again, if you are any way unsure that you're eligible for the exam, there are benefits to using the pre-screen service. You will not need to resubmit additional application. If you were eligible, you would simply just go back into your application and finalize and pay for it, and then you'll get the email to schedule your exam appointment. Pre-screen applications also receive some priority during the review process, so your results will be received within about 2 weeks or less. Traditional applications you normally would take longer, the full applications. If you're not eligible, again, you will learn how many credits you're missing, as well as sample course titles to help you select additional courses. You can pick up these credits online if you wish also. And the $25 for the pre-screen is then deducted off your full application fee if you are eligible. So the date of your pre-screen application will be considered in your exam application date. So if you're eligible, you won't incur higher exam fees due to the deadline cutoff if you submit your pre-screen in the first deadline and you're found eligible, but don't complete the final registration until the second deadline. You're still going to be given that first deadline fee. So it's when your original application is submitted. NCHEC has made some exceptions for students to sit for the exam before graduation if the student intends to graduate within 90 days of the exam. The students must fulfill the requirements of completing his or her degree and submitting a final transcript to or diploma to NCHEC to reach the active certification status if you pass the exam, as well as submitting an advisor letter for your full-time status. So there is the full-time student fee, which is the lower application fee. And again, you must graduate within 90 days of the exam. And there are some certain instances or exceptions to that, which on an individual basis, if you have any questions, you can just email me. Once you have created an account and initiated a new application or a pre-screen, you would enter your first and last name exactly how you would like it to appear on the NCHEC certificate, but it also must match your government ID of your first and last name. It's also your responsibility to notify NCHEC of any changes in your name or address before or after taking the exam. Official transcripts reflecting school names, degree, date awarded, and all completed coursework, because your application cannot be processed without an official transcript. If this information is sent separately, transcripts should be submitted no later than the final registration deadline, or you could be subject to an incomplete application. And if you decide to register for the next cycle, there would be additional fees. And an advisor letter would also only be required if you're currently a student. It would need to be on school letterhead, contain your name, projected graduation date, degree program, and that you're currently a student or a full-time student. All documents must be uploaded before the eligibility can take place, the review. So exam registration opens May and November every year. If you register During the early bird period, you receive a $50 discount. That current registration is open now. It's open 11/1 to 11/31. Student discounts, full-time students only, are available with the documentation of your student status. The final registration period closes on February 29th and August 31st of each year. The schedule is also available on our website under the exam schedule for CHES and MCHES respectively. So in order to get the full-time student fee, you would need to be enrolled or taking 9 or more semester credits or 12 or more quarter hours. You would still need the advisor letter if you're a student, but the student fee would only be allocated for the 9 credits or 37 quarter hours. Applicants who have been determined eligible for the exam will receive an authorization test email. This notification will be sent to your registered email address, and it is necessary to schedule your exam appointment. Remember that application reviews can take up to 3 weeks during busy time, and ineligible applicants will also be notified by email. If you are found ineligible to take the exam and you fully register, you would be refunded minus the $100 processing fee. So that's why we suggest, if you're in any way unsure, to use the pre-screen service, because it's just the $25. Again, if you fully register and are found ineligible, you would lose the $100 processing fee. And then you can always reapply for the exam in the future if you complete the coursework necessary. You also do have the right to appeal your denial of eligibility. So the next steps would be to schedule your exam appointment. In 2022, we transitioned to a new testing vendor for our exams. Candidates are now able to schedule with a link within your authorization to test email, or you can also go to the NCHEC website and click login. NCHEC's website also has some videos detailing what you can expect on test day, whether you choose to do a testing center or home via live remote proctoring. Once you are logged in, you will see a button on the left-hand side of your dashboard, and it will say click to schedule or reschedule, and it will take you directly to schedule your exam appointment, as shown in this little picture here. Do not wait until the exam testing window opens to schedule a time slot, as appointments are scheduled on a first-come, first-served basis. Should a candidate be unable to schedule an exam appointment within the testing windows, fees would not be refunded or transferred. So the CHES and MCHES exam candidates utilize professional, secure, technology-enabled global PSI test centers, which include such benefits as immediate pass-fail scoring. This is for CHES only, but we are working to have MCHES also immediate pass-fail scoring for the upcoming cycle. An expanded range of testing dates and locations, and 24 online scheduling through the NCHEC candidate portal. We also have a 10-day testing window to fit your busy schedule. CHES exam candidates receive instant preliminary pass result after the exam completion, and exams can be rescheduled if necessary. So this video provides exam candidates with an overview of the test center experience, and then we'll also put the link in the chat. So hopefully I can get this to play for you guys. Oh.
As the world's leading workforce solutions provider, PSI understands that you're committed to reaching your potential. And whether you're testing remotely or at a PSI test center, we're determined to provide you with a great testing experience along the way. PSI's test center network offers flexible scheduling, convenient locations, and comfortable testing environments in over 120 countries and in all 50 states. If you're a test taker looking to schedule an appointment, or if you need special accommodations during testing, please visit our website or contact your test sponsor for more information. Already have your testing appointment scheduled? Great. Join you for a quick test center tour, and I'll show you what to expect as you prepare to take your test. When you arrive at the test center, you'll check in with a trained and certified test center administrator. Make sure you arrive at least 30 minutes early to allow adequate time for checking. You'll need to provide valid photo identification and a proof of signature. The administrator may also take your photo or capture a digital fingerprint. To provide a fair and secure testing experience, only approved materials will be allowed in the testing area. No personal items, food, or beverages are permitted. While we recommend you leave these items at home or in your car, we'll have secured storage available if needed. Before entering the testing area, the administrator will ask you to empty your pockets, and some items such as glasses, jewelry, or bulky clothing may also be inspected. Please check with your test sponsor to see if they allow the use of items such as scratch paper, calculators, or reference materials. After the security check, the administrator will escort you to your testing station. Before beginning your test, you'll review a security statement and have the opportunity to take a software tutorial. And don't worry, PSI's testing software is easy to use, even for first-time test takers. During your test, the administrator will regularly walk through the room and monitor the area through video surveillance. An on-screen clock will indicate how much time you have left to finish your test. If at any point you need to take a break or need assistance, quietly exit the testing room to alert the administrator. Most test sponsors do not allow extra time for unscheduled breaks, so please be aware that the test clock may continue to run while you're away. When you return from your break, the administrator will perform the same security processes that were performed before you initially entered the testing area. So, you're at the end of your test. You've checked to make sure you've answered all the questions, clicked the End Test button, and your testing session is now over. Quietly exit the testing area to check out with the administrator. Depending on your test sponsor, you'll either receive a score report at the test center, or you'll receive instructions on how to obtain your score report. That concludes our tour. We wish you much success on your test. If you have any additional concerns about what to expect during testing with PSI, please contact our test taker support team. They're available to you 24/7 through phone, email, or online chat.
Okay. So NCHEC offers to continue live remote proctoring as a test modality through PSI's online remote assessment platform, also known as PSI Bridge. This option gives candidates 24/7 access, allowing them to test from home with an internet-enabled location where they must provide a computer with a camera, microphone, and stable internet connection. It's an easy platform to use, and it allows the same standard security procedures as implemented in the Global Test Center network. PSI Bridge is both Windows and Mac compatible. Candidates must use the Google Chrome browser and perform the system's readiness check before registering for an LRP appointment. One thing to note is that certain software and devices are not supported. Please do a systems check before scheduling your LRP exam, and by going to, there's a few links here that we can also put in the chat for you to check your system. Okay, so we have a short video here also for live remote proctoring.
This video was made just for you. It's a quick overview of what you can expect when taking an online exam with PSI. One of the first things to consider before taking your exam is location. You will need to secure a quiet and private room. Make sure you pick a spot that no one else will need to access during your testing session. The area should be well lit, uncluttered, and free from any distracting background noise. To take the exam, you will need access to a desktop or laptop computer with a webcam and microphone. Prior to your appointment, you can visit the PSI website and access an online compatibility checklist to ensure your equipment is ready for your exam. When you schedule your exam appointment, you will receive instructions for logging into the PSI online system. In most instances, you will be allowed to start this process up to 15 minutes prior to your appointment time. When you log in, you will be greeted by a PSI test administrator. The administrator will begin a type chat session to walk you through the process, beginning with a check to ensure that your webcam and microphone are working properly and that screen sharing has been activated. If you have multiple monitors connected, the system will detect this and you will be asked to enable sharing for all connected equipment. Next, you will be asked to scan your testing area with your webcam. This scan will include a slow 360-degree view of the room, a look at the top of your desk and under the desk, and an inspection of the keyboard and other desktop objects. It is recommended that your workspace be as clutter-free as possible. The administrator will be looking at the area to ensure restricted items are not on the desk or in the room. This includes food or drinks, headphones, electronics, or mobile devices, such as cell phones or tablets. In most instances, notes or reference materials are not allowed. But please check the PSI website or with your test sponsor for requirements specific to your exam. Once the room scan is complete, you will be asked to present your government-issued photo ID to the webcam. Some test sponsors require further proof of identification or additional security checks, so please review the specific requirements for your exam on the PSI website or with your test sponsor prior to your appointment. Once we have established a secure testing area and verified your identification, your testing session will begin. You will find the PSI testing software to be intuitive and easy to navigate. The test administrator will be available through type chat throughout your session. They cannot assist with any exam-related questions, but are there to help if you run into any technical issues. They will also be actively monitoring and recording the session through screen share, webcam, and microphone, meaning they will be able to see and hear you. It is important that your room remains quiet and free from distraction during testing. No one else should enter the room during your session, and there should be no talking or background noise. When you are finished with your test, you will be notified if there are any unanswered questions and asked to confirm that you are ready to end the testing session. Depending on your test sponsor, you may receive a score report on screen, or you may simply receive instructions for how to obtain your score. The test administrator will then chat with you a few more times and conclude the session. We wish you much success on your exam. If you have any concerns about what to expect during your testing experience, please visit the PSI website or contact our customer service team. They are available to you 24/7 through phone, email, or online chat.
So the CHES exam is competency-based. This means that the exam is constructed based on the framework document, which identifies the 8 areas of responsibility. Within each area of responsibility, the basic competencies and sub-competencies necessary for health education specialists have been delineated. These serve as a basis for developing the questions on the exam. The CHES exam The CHES exams are in a 3-hour timed exam offered live remote proctoring and computer-based. They have 165 multiple choice questions, 150 are scored, and 15 are pilot tested that measure the possession, application, and interpretation of knowledge essential to the practice of health education. The exam content is in 3 blocks, and we'll cover the format in the next few slides. So the study guide for the CHES exam is a useful but optional tool used by candidates during study and preparation for the exam. This companion guide is only available on the NCHEC website, and this also is available in ebook format. So this table outlines the areas of responsibility on the exam and the percent of questions that come from each area. This content for the NCHEC exam went into effect in October 2022. So to ensure fairness and security across CBT and LRP, the CHES and MCHES exams will be administered using a set of standardized security protocols in alignment with the standards recommended by our accreditation body, NCCA. The security policy will affect the exam format and the break policy. So the CHES exam is currently offered in 3 blocks. Block 1, which is questions 1 through 83. Block 2, which is an optional break. And then block 3, which are questions 84 through 165. Candidates will be given an opportunity to take the optional 10-minute break midway through the exam between block 1 and 3. And if a break is taken, it will require additional security screening before proceeding to the 3rd block of the exam. The 10-minute break is deducted from the total test time. Following the break, candidates will gain access to the 3rd block, but will not be able to access the 1st block of the exam questions. So before you would go to your break, you answer questions 1 through 83. And if you'd like to review them, you should go and review those, because once you get past the break, you are not able to go back to review those 1st block of questions.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Now we're just going to talk a little bit about what happens after you pass the CHES exam. So to maintain the credential, you have to pay an annual renewal fee of $70. And then over your what's called a 5-year cycle. So in the first 5 years that you're certified, you will need to complete 75 hours of continuing education. Might sound like a lot, but if you tackle it in about 15 per year, it's definitely doable. So if you complete those 75 hours, then you will recertify at this 5th year, should that criteria be met. Doesn't cost any more to recertify, and you do not need to take the test again, provided that you do the continuing education. Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, let me talk real quick, Tanya, sorry, about the continuing competency. So there is also a measurement or evaluation of something called continuing competency during this 5-year cycle. It's part of your 75 hours. It's not additional, but it's a different kind of continuing education. You'll get much more information on this should you pass the exam. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but I just wanted you to know there's a renewal fee yearly, and every 5 years you have a certain amount of continuing education to complete. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about continuing education contact hours. We call them CHEC for short. There are a couple different kinds of continuing education contact hours. We have Category 1 and Category 2. Continuing education. Category 1 are events or offerings that NCHEC has pre-approved, and we have what we call designated providers. So they've submitted their course or their webinar or training event to us. We've looked it over and approved it. And these are great because you can attend them, and the provider, whoever gives the event, will record your hours and send them to us, and you don't have to do anything. They'll be automatically uploaded into your account. A lot of these are absolutely free. We have a search tool on our website that you can go through and take a look at the cost of things, different areas that you're interested in. So we have those Category 1s on the NCHEC website. There's another type of continuing education called Category 2. These are types of events that are not pre-approved by us, but they still align with one of those 8 areas of responsibility. So you can claim credit for those. There's a maximum of 30 Category 2 credits for CHES during the 5-year period, and you would need to self-report them using your online portal that you will have on the NCHEC website. Okay, so as far as benefits of certification, we have something called NCHEC Online. It's a virtual community and it connects certified individuals in health education and health promotion. We have access to resources, forums, and discussions, jobs and professional development opportunities, different mentoring possibilities, a lot more in this community. And you automatically become part of this community once you are certified. So that is a neat tool to use. We have over 16,000 certified CHES and MCHES across the country and operating overseas as well. So it's really a neat place for like-minded individuals and professionals to connect. And we'll have some live events on there that are exclusive. For instance, we do Ask Me Anything events where we have a person that, in a specific sector, and you can log in real time and ask them questions that you might have. So that's been real popular as well. We also have something called the reimbursement and credentialing toolkit available for CHES and MCHES. And you can access and download this toolkit by logging into this online portal, and you can have access to those resources too. I know someone had asked previously about career resources. So we do have a page on the NCHEC website dedicated to this. We have a job search page. That's where I mentioned, where that list of 500 plus employers post various job openings across the country. You can access that now. You don't have to be certified to do that. And we have resources about how to prepare for an interview, how to use your certification in an interview, the best things to say. We have sample job titles for CHES and MCHES, because I think a lot of people might not realize just what this certification qualifies you to do. It's quite a bit, and job titles can get quite varied. So when you start your job search after you graduate or whenever, you don't want to just look for certified health education specialist or health education specialist. There's so many different things that you can do using your 8 areas of responsibility, and those job titles differ quite a bit across the country. Yeah, I think that's about it. There's tip sheets on here as well. I've been trying to answer a few of the questions that have come up in the chat, Maya, but there might be a few more. And I think we'll if you're good, we can take this time, this extra time here to lobby a few of those across to Tanya.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can come off mute as well and ask those questions. I do have one question, I think, just to put it out there. So I guess what's some advice, final thoughts of advice, right, for someone who is thinking about taking this exam, the best ways or the most efficient ways for them to even prepare for the exam?
Well, I know I've seen a lot of people torn with whether to test when they're in their last semester because they think it might be overload, it might be too much. But those that have done it have said, all the information is fresh in their head. They get a significant discount for being a full-time student. Then when you graduate, you have that certification to market when you're going to those job interviews, that you've completed it, you're already certified, not that you're going to certify down the road. So I haven't seen too many people who were happy that they waited. There's numerous benefits to just getting it over with, and while everything's fresh. And then there's a tendency, if you wait, to put it off another. We only do it 2 times a year. So for studying, there is a study guide with a full-length TES test and a full-length MCHES test in it as well. So that they're available for purchase, definitely not required, but I think it helps a lot of people to what the best technique I've seen is that you get the study guide, you take the exam right out of the gate to test what you know right now. And then the answers in the back of the study guide are ranked by area of responsibility. So you can kind of see what areas you're weaker in, and then really focus your study efforts on those specific areas. And then also on our website, there's a whole list of recommended study guides or resources that you might have access to online or in libraries, but it's really recommended that you use whatever textbooks you've got that are related to health education, health promotion, program planning during your undergraduate or grad work. Use those to study as well. Do not just study from the study guide. Tanya, anything else you want to add? Do you think I
Nope, I think you
hit
covered
on
it.
it there? Yeah. Okay. I hope that helped.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, are there any questions from those that are here with us? Comments, questions?
And someone I just saw in the chat did ask how many times a year. It is only 2 times. It is always in April and October of every year. So you, we say it takes about 6 months usually of studying to prepare, 4 to 6 months. So you can kind of see which one would suit your schedule best, I guess. But just know it's not ongoing. It's 2 times a year for a certain window, a 10-day window.
Mhm.
And just a follow-up with Halima's comment, right, about I think it's definitely a benefit, right, that the exam can be taken remotely now. But I guess for those people that might not have, the most ideal home environment to take the exam, like, are there resources available or recommendations, maybe going to the library, or what do you think?
Yeah, that can get tricky. You really need to have that ideal space. And the other big issue that people run into is that they don't have administrative rights to the laptop they're using or whatever system they're using if they go to the library or they borrow a friend or family member's computer or an employer's computer. That can interfere with taking the test, on test day. So we do have we did a webinar recently specifically on the live remote proctoring. So if you're considering it, I would urge you to go to our website. I'll put it in the chat. We have a webinars page and you can review that. And Tanya, I think it's on the exam page also. I would recommend that you watch that live remote proctoring webinar and then make a decision. It really is a personal preference, but you have to have, like you said, a really good location. It's a 3-hour exam. You can't be interrupted. You need a great, strong connection. You need the right operating systems. And there's a lot of boxes that have to be checked. It's a great option for some people. Others like to go to that test center where, everything's taken care of and you have someone walking around should you have issues or questions and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's really a matter of personal preference, but it is important to weigh the pros and cons of both, I think.
Okay, if there are no other questions or final words, I'll definitely let our presenters, put forth any final words that they may have. But other than that, you'll get a follow-up email with some of the links that were mentioned today, as well as a brief survey. So please take that survey and let us know what feedback you have on the info session as well.
Yeah, sounds good. We have a lot of social media platforms, follow us for tips, tools, information about deadlines, that sort of thing. And always feel free to call or email us with questions. We'll be happy to help you out with that.
Yep.
Is there a general email, or do you want to be emailed directly?
On the website, it really doesn't matter. If you send it general, it will get distributed to one of us, to that if you send to the admin, it'll get distributed to us, but you are more than welcome to email us directly. There's a contact us page on the website, and you can look up Tanya's email address. You can look up my email address. If you have a specific question, it might be better to do that, don't you think, Tanya?
Yeah.
If it's really specific to the exam. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and my email is just the Tcole, TCOLE, with the
Yep.
NCHEC.org.
I'll put
at
it in
the
the chat right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I'll definitely also share your emails, in
Yeah.
the.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you got a lot of great information out of this info session, and we'll see you at the next Office of Career Services event. Thank you. Have a good day.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye, everyone.